Human beings instinctively move in straight lines, and under pressure you'll see this instinct come out in conflict. Bruce Lee recognized this and turned this into a weapon, the straight blast. In combat sports, it's a proven strategy for overwhelming and pressurizing your opponent. In today's video, we'll highlight key moments from the Straight Blast seminar at Combative Concepts Academy of Martial Arts in Toronto, taught by Steve Ferreira. Let's jump in.
Okay, thanks again for everybody for coming out and checking it out. So today's session is going to be based on the Straight Blast. And to what would be people's idea of what a Straight Blast is? Can anybody give me what their definition or what their idea of what a Straight Blast might be? Jab. And do you see how it's this rolling motion? Now it's just jab cross. So you see how it's just a jab cross, sit down on it, drop your chin. If you notice while I'm throwing the jab, do you see how my shoulder rolls right? I want to protect this button. It's amazing on how 50% power can get a knockout on this button. Usually 100% power is needed for these ones, but not a lot of power is needed for this one. Protect that button. Drop your chin down, so your jab rolls over, cross. And they just travel beside each other instead of over each other. So how I want us to be able to practice that is move around a little bit, maybe a 3 count. Move. You see I might just implement it in a 3 count beat. Do you see how I'm not so rigid in terms of a particular stance that they would do in certain fighting systems? Just out of that, think like your boxing stance. Moving around like this. Implement a 3 beat, 4 beats, 2 beats. Also most economical line, meaning the mechanics that are utilized to be able to attack those lines are very simple mechanics. I don't have to overemphasize popping up my elbow. Oh, then you change. Oh, then you change them, right? So draw stepping, trying to promote people to step into you. And if I'm in a stance, that might be a setup. They're prepared. But if I got a guy backing up like this, they're not. If they're not in stance and you're just backpedaling and they're complete, I don't care what they throw in that type of footwork or structure, it won't have anything behind it. Okay, what we're going to do is we're just going to work this blast in a rhythm context, and this one is just designed to build up your emotional content. So what we're going to do is we're first going to work a 2 count blast. Okay, we're going to go 2 beat, then we're going to go 3 beat, then we're going to go 4 beat, 5 beat, 6 beat. But we're going to build up on it gradually. And when I break, I'm going to pause in between each sequence so that my partner can relax and rebuild. So for example, we move, he's going to be relaxed, and then you friggin' explode. Jab cross. Now you give it from 3. 4. 5. Straight up, turn those hips more. 6. Now you see how when we start getting faster, what happens? Oh, it's starting to drop. So I don't want form and power to be sacrificed for the sake of speed. So keep your form and power in check. Once that's in check, please make that faster, right? So relax with it, right? So 2, don't drop the leg. 3, much better. 4, that one still. 5, better. Now, you see, I just want you to build. This is not a jab, and that's not a cross, and that's not a hook. Whose head was there, and then there all of a sudden? Center line. So let's use center line as the guide for tool to target identification. So if I'm going, I replace here. Sometimes we can hold a jab, 1, 2. No, a jab cross, 1, 2. 3 count blast. But from the holder's perspective, like this, and hold center line. Replace. So 1, 2. See how it's right in front? 3. 4. Jab cross. It was always like this. Jab cross hook. Right? that's a good feed. Then I started adapting opposites. And I noticed when I get opposites, I can start to create different combinations a lot faster in sequence. And so right now we're going to be doing opposites. Opposites also promote more hip mechanic. This one promotes more straight line. So sometimes it's based on the student. I see a student, he's not coming down straight line very well. I'll hold more like that. If I see he's not turning his hip enough, then I'll hold opposites. Sometimes I'll use it based on what the student is giving me. Right now, just go opposites. It'll be faster and easier for you as the pad holder. So from here, 1, 2. Again, in center line, away from your face. Don't trust anybody. Right. 3. But see how it's away from my face, in center line. Opposites. Catches me with a good 1, 2. Now chase me down with a blast. Look, he had to move forward pressure. How many times am I trying to fix people? Stop going straight back. It's almost instinctual. Stop going straight back. Circle around, lateral movement. How many times am I telling this? It's instinctual for us to go straight back from a primal perspective. I know, I coach for so many, and everybody goes straight back. It seems like lateral movement is something that has to be taught. It's not natural. Why do you think lateral movement is not natural and straight forward and back is?
Because it's like theoretically the fastest way.
No, it's because every day in our lives we're used to going straight forward. We're so used to being linear in our day-to-day lives. So forward straight movement is what we're so used to. The next one is forward straight back, especially when we feel threatened. So linears is where we find naturalness from a primal perspective. That's not the kind of natural I want, right? So lateral movement. Now sometimes if, say for example now, you start to get your blast going. Now follow my hands. Follow. Oh, you're rolling. Oh. Now you see how now that blast all of a sudden is kind of following targets, because sometimes he hits me 1, 2, and then and now it's dropped here. Boom, 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 boom. Right? So sometimes the target changes and the head is changing. Now if the head is covered, I suggest you don't follow it. If it's being covered and you're expending, we already asserted, hey, this takes a lot of energy. It better be worth it, right? So if it's being covered and the blast is not doing as effective, at least it's keeping him on a defensive. But if you recognize the defensive structure and the blast is not, what should you do? Change the tactic. The blast did its job. It got him on a defensive. It got him whatever. It got him hurt. But if it's not accomplishing any more of that, it's time for change, right? But right now we're identifying to the blast in 3-dimensional movement, because the face, follow my face now, see me? Because now the head is clean. You understand? There's a lot of moments when you got a guy hurt and the face is just wide open anyway. And sometimes this is a trained skill. People just don't naturally have that. People will naturally do this out of instinct if they've never had training before. When they're barrage, they shell, drop their head. So get it going station. Now, continuous blasting. 1, 2, 1, 2. Keep going. Now forward. Backwards. Now this guy's coming at you and you're trying to yield back with it, right? Walk this direction. So mirroring. Mirror the other way. So mirror me. Get it? That's what we call mirroring. Forward. Now run. That's right there. So it goes from a shuffle to you're at a distance. Where are you, Leonard? Here's your stance and structure and hand placements when you're fighting, let's say. So So if you're at a distance, you don't be here. If I'm moving around and we're like preliminary analysis range, pot shotting range, right? You don't hang out here. Why do you need to be here? You know how long that's taking for my jab to get to the target? It's a lot of travel time. So in essence, we keep our hands in front and in center line. See how, and I don't want to be rigid like this. That's very, and the only time I would be rigid, I'm baiting something. But if I'm not baiting anything, that's not how I fight and move. That's so easy to see, recognize, and trap and crash and everything. Get engagements. So my hands are subtly moving. However, when you start getting in the pocket in a range of exchange where we can both hit each other, it starts from here and then it starts going to here. You see where I am now? So when I'm in motion, offensive motion, to keep myself safe while I'm hitting or trapping. But as soon as I'm done there, I deviate that. Relax. But if you notice, it's always in center line. So even from here, my hands are floating in center line. And when they're not, it's because I'm drawing. I'm baiting something so I can try to set up a active movement. And his hands are down. Anything would land at that moment in time, right? So no different than a blast. So if a person's just coming in and then starting a blast after something like that, any technique can work at these careless attention to yourself when you're in a threatening situation or range, right? So a lot of things can work at that moment. But a blast, like any technique, sometimes you have to blast a few times, or your techniques had to be set up. Meaning I wanted to set up that rear straight because I recognize the open center line. So maybe I probe his center line and I go, and then I went right down the pipe. But I really will use that hook to try to open up the center line. I recognize the center line is open, so I'll exploit it. And I'll make sure it stays open by forcing a wide structure off of my hook. Could be one transition, right? So same thing with the blast. Sometimes when I want to ensure that I get forward pressure or pressure to do its job, sometimes it was just timed really well upon setup, the blast itself, and sometimes I had to use other techniques to help the cause. Okay, so first and foremost, what we're going to do is we're going to learn how to incorporate the straight blast within our regular striking skills. So how can I incorporate blasting and coordinate it with all my other types of strike tools? Well, you guys are going to go back to being pad holders for each other. And it's going to kind of look like this. Okay, ready? How are you? So I just want you to take your partner through a bit of kickboxing sequences and stuff like that. If you're not familiar with kickboxing, do it with boxing, whatever it might be, I don't care. Okay, but more importantly is just start to simulate this. Jab, cross hook, cross hook, round kick, move. Give me that back. Don't seal in my miss. Jab, rear knee, round kick, cross hook, blast, move. Circle. Jab, round kick, blast, there. See, now all of a sudden, just like on how I would incorporate a cross hook sometimes in a combination, or I have a set sequence that I mix within pad holding, I can do the same with the blast. I mix the jab with crosses, hooks, uppercuts, round kicks. I mix a cross with a bunch of different tools. I mix round kicks and knees with a bunch of different tools. Must mean I can mix a blast with a bunch of different tools. Right? It's just a way of thinking. It's just another tool. It's another tool in your toolbox that you should know when to use and why. Again, the who, what, where, when, and hows have to be defined. Right? So can we start to work that now? See if you can fuse that into, and if you noticed, jab cross, round kick, blast. After a kick, jab, ready position. Jab, lead hook, cross, blast. After a punching combination. Right? jab, lead elbow, hush, rear knee, hush, blast. Ho, ho, ho. Good. What's your move? I want to see you guys now put on boxing gloves on, okay? Now we're going to start needing some boxing gloves. Just want your partner to jab, jab, cross, kind of like a sparring context, right? So he's moving around. Hush, hush, hush. See how he went backpedaled all of a sudden? And I didn't even come forward pressure. All I did was motion blasting to his center line. And did you see what happened? Hands came up. As soon as I see the hands come, boom, right there. Right? All of a sudden, I go up to low, then I'll just change the lines. As soon as the passivity comes, as soon as you got the guy responding, there's a lot of opportunity opening up. So you see there's a glimpse of some option of follow-up. But right start blasting this guy. And now he starts to backpedal. I go, and he's getting out of my punching range. Should you just keep on chasing him down with the blast? I probably shouldn't. So all of a sudden, if you recognize that while I'm blasting, he's getting outside of the punching range, now I can catch up to him again. So maybe I needed to use some type of long range tool to catch up to him in order to get back to the blast if I wanted to continue with the blast. So as you're blasting, he gets outside of the punching range. Then I had to use some type of technique of a kick to catch up to him to keep the blast going. Right? The other option is now all of a sudden when he starts to we start getting the blast going, we start to recognize that the hands just kind of come up in front. And Leonard, when the hands, I'm going to start to blast, you just start to cover. Okay? Yeah. So you get on the blast, I start to, and then the guard's coming up. That's where the trapping comes in. So now I can all of a sudden guard up. All of a sudden I can think, clearing. And then keep going with that blast. So this is why in Wing Chun, they taught a lot of trapping. Because in Wing Chun, the straight blast was one of their favorite techniques. And when they entered with the blast, they encountered guards coming up. So that's where the trapping and then clearing came in. When the guards started to come up.
I saw your boxing.
So that we can boom. Yeah.